Okay, Robert Eagleson here with the Hook and Hackle Club Calgary, and today we're going to do an extended body mayfly. This is probably the easiest version of the extended body mayfly that I've come across in my travels, so we're going to show you how I tie it. So first thing I do is I have a size 12 Dai-Riki 125. It's an emerger hook, but it works pretty well for this. So I'm just going to mount that, smash the barb, mount it in my vise. Start my thread about mid-shank. And then I will just clip my excess. And then I'm going to take an old piece of monofilament, 20-pound monofilament. All that stuff you've got in your old tackle box, don't know what to do with. Here's a use. So I'm just going to take a clip off a length of this. Don't worry about how long, we're going to trim it. And then we're just going to start that about mid-shank. Want it on top with that natural curve going away from the bend of the hook. So we want this tied down pretty good. Let's give it a couple wraps underneath. Make sure it's in there nice and solid. Okay, so let's clip that off at about right in there. Nice curve going in there. So now we need to add our moose body hair. So moose body hair, cheap. You can use it for tails on all kinds of flies. I'm going to take about 10-12 hairs out of there. I'm going to stack them. I will clean all the fuzz out, and then I'm going to bring them over and measure. So I want those tips of those hairs just sticking beyond my body, so somewhere in there. So we'll just tie those down, and then we'll just clip the butts. All right, now this is without a doubt the hardest part of this fly, is wrapping those moose hair up that body. So whatever works for you, tip the hook a little bit, and we want to wrap those hairs onto that monofilament. Oops, got one coming loose there. Let's just try to tip that just a bit more, see if that helps. Alright, that looks pretty good. So now we'll just start coming back down. And like I say, this is without a doubt the most difficult part there, but a little practice, you'll get it. Alright. Now, I'm using 0.5 millimeter foam that I've cut into a very thin strip. So you can see it's, I don't know, half the gap width or something. I'm just going to take that and clip it to a point, and then I'm just going to tie it in. It doesn't, not really important where that's tied in. Alright, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to wrap it up my tail, my abdomen. And then I will start wrapping back down in touching wraps. And that tail's pretty tough, so you can hold that as an anchor as you wrap that foam back down. Okay, so once we get to the bottom there, then we're going to incorporate the hook shank in there. And we will just continue wrapping up the shank of the hook. Now we'll just tie that off and clip the excess. Now, I'm going to take a Pantone marker and so this is, what have I got here? It's called Brick Beige. So I'm just going to take this Pantone marker and I'm just going to make that fly so it's not so bright white, just giving it a bit of color. I don't know how important this is. Of course, you make them any color, but the secret is to make that fly a color that you can match the dubbing to. Alright, so now we need to put in our wing. So I've got a big ball here of poly yarn. These strands are made up of 3 smaller strands to make one big one. I find one of those strands is a little bit light, so I've taken 1.5 strands and melded them together. So I'm going to take my poly yarn now and I will bring it from under the fly. I'll use my thread. Oops. I'm going to bring my poly yarn from under the fly. I'm going to use my thread, catch the front of that. So I want that pretty solid. It won't pull out when it's a U like that. And then I'm going to start building up a post. So it's important that this post be tight and solid. You don't want that spinning around as you wrap your hackle or turning on you when you're fishing the fly. So I'm going to build a post up there, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch or so. Come back down, and then I'm going to bring my thread back to the eye. I'm going to clip this wing off just purposely too long, just to get that out of the way. Okay, now I need a hackle, and I'm using just standard Grizzly hackle here. I've prepared this hackle by stripping off some of the barbs. I've got more barbs. Let's see, I want more barbs off of the right side than I do the left here. So I've got my hackle feather here. I'm going to tie that in by the butt in here. And I'm going to bring that up to the front of the post. I'm going to do one wrap behind the post, stand my feather up, and then I'm going to wrap that bare stem up to the top of the post. I'm going to bring it back down and back to the eye. So you want a dubbing that closely matches the color of your foam. So I've got here Superfine, and I love Superfine. I have to recommend Superfine dubbing. So this is a Superfine in a light Cahill. So I'm just going to tease off a little bit of dubbing, and I will make myself a thin dubbing noodle, and I think thin is the key. Most new tires use way too much dubbing. Alright, so I'm just going to dub a body back, and I want to go, I want to make sure that there are no bare shank showing underneath that fly. So that looks pretty good. Alright, just double check that, looks good. Okay, so it's important that this thread be in front of the post and on the tire side of the fly. So now I'm going to take my hackle, and again, the reason that we took off more barbs from this side is to help that feather orientate. So I'm going to start at the top of that post, and I'm going to wrap like 6 times down. 2, 3, 4, 5, and last one. So once you've got your last one there, your thread's already in the right spot, you can wrap snug wraps now. 1, 2, 3 snug wraps, and once you've got 3 snug wraps there, you can snap that feather off. Now, I will find my whip finisher, and I'm going to whip finish this fly right on that post. Okay. Make sure that thread's seated well. Clip that off. Now, my wing, and this is just a personal preference here, but I like to shape my wings. So I'm just going to, didn't work. Let me just adjust this a bit. All right, so you got your wing here. I like my wings a little taller in the front, a little shorter in the back. So we're just going to shape this wing more of a natural mayfly wing shape. This is strictly a tire preference, but that doesn't look too bad. So there we go. The extended body mayfly moose hair version, moose body hair version. Thanks for watching.